Hey guys, kinggath here, and in this video we're going to go over in depth on the donation system, which allows you to take all of the excess things from your inventory and donate them to your settlers. So if you go to your city planner's desk and look for an object that looks something like a safe, and it highlights over and says supplies. If you click on that, you'll bring up this little menu. Now, if you're playing with maintenance costs turned on, you will see a larger menu, and I'll cover that toward the end of the video. But this is what most of you will see. And at the top, you'll see the name of your settlement, followed by upgrade scrap collected. Now, if you're not using a city plan on the current settlement, it will always show 0%. Now, if you are playing with the city plan used on the current settlement, it might show 100% all the time. And if that's the case, that means you probably have the scrap collection requirement turned off. This could happen if you used the wizard and choose the automatic mode, or if you turned involvement to low. There are a number of different options that could affect the scrap collection. But in general, for those of you who have it enabled, which I think will be a large number of you, the idea is that your settlers need to generate enough junk in order to do those big upgrades to improve their cities. So the scrap collection is independent of the time requirement on city plans, and I'm going to show you that now. So if you go to the city plan, the little blueprint object on your desk, you'll see the percent to next level, and that percent to next level is also reflected on the HUD framework HUD on the left-hand side of my screen there. Now I don't have it showing right now because I'm not using a city plan on this particular settlement, but it would be to the right of the little vault boy. It would show a little picture of a city and a percentage. That is this percent here, the percent toward next level. That is largely based on time. So it's completely possible to have that at 100% without your settlement being able to upgrade. And if that's the case, that generally means that your scrap collection has not also reached 100%. Now, scrap collection will happen automatically, and the more basic industrial plots you have, the faster the scrap collection will occur. Now, you can speed this up yourself by donating your own extra junk. So it's possible to upgrade settlements a little bit, or city plans rather, a little faster if you donate some junk to them. Next up are stored food and stored water. Now, what these do is allow you to essentially buy some time. So let's say, for example, that you had 6 settlers, but you only had 5 food and 5 water being produced, but you knew that one of your agricultural plots was about to upgrade, and you just wanted to wait and to build a water pump for some reason, whatever your reasons may be, or perhaps you had planned on setting up a caravan in the next settlement you set up and you just hadn't quite gotten to it yet. Well, you can donate food and water in order to buy that time. So any food and water donated here, your settlers will eat 1 food and 1 water from if they don't have enough. So in that example of having only 5 food and water for 6 settlers, essentially you would need to have 1 food and 1 water stored per day in order to make up that difference to protect your settlers from losing happiness due to shortages. So you can essentially donate that stuff here to ensure that your meters stay full and that you're eligible for upgrades. This is especially useful for things like water with farms, because the agricultural plots do require that your water needs be met in order to be eligible to upgrade. So if you were planning on, for example, just buying time until your agricultural plot's updated in order to fulfill the food needs, you might also want to donate water to ensure that those agricultural plots needs were met in that regard so that they could upgrade. So the idea there is you're taking excess food and water that you don't need and making sure that your settlers have it available in case their needs dip a little bit and you haven't gotten a chance to finish them. This is also useful in playing with dynamic needs, where it might be while you're out in the world that your food or water needs might change while you're away and you haven't had a chance to upgrade them or add additional things, and that in the meantime your settlers could use that stored food and water without having to slow the progress of their settlement. So you can have up to 3 food and 3 water per settler. So that's a 3-day buffer you can buy by donating lots of food and water. Next up is Armory Equipment Rating, and essentially what this allows you to do is take all those extra ammo, weapons, and armor you've got laying around and convert them directly into defense points for your settlement. So the different equipment that you can donate have different values. So weapons are the most valuable, they will add the most defense. Armor is the next most valuable, and then ammo is the least valuable. So basically, the more stuff you put in here, the higher the equipment rating will go. And the equipment rating allows allows for up to 3 defense to be generated per settler. So no matter what your armory equipment rating is, there is a cap on the amount of defense that can be generated, and it is 3 per settler. So if you had a equipment rating of 30 and you had 10 settlers, you would generate 30 defense. But if you had those same 10 settlers and an equipment rating of 200, you would still only generate that 30 defense because there is a cap on it based on number of settlers. So there is a limit to how much stuff you'd want to donate there, but there is plenty of value in donating stuff there, so you can just get a raw defense bonus without having to build any sort of thing. The idea being that your settlers would essentially become more potent if they had better equipment. Now, due to limitations with the scripting engine in the default game, we can't actually equip those items to your settlers, so you probably want to just donate junkier stuff, things like pipe pistols and cheaper ammunition you don't need. But if we ever find a way to do it without the script extender, we would definitely incorporate something like that, because I'd love to have an easier way for you guys to equip your settlers without having to go to each one and manually do them. But if you are looking for your settlers to actually have better equipment and look cooler, you'll want to do that manually. But if you want to just gain an actual defense bonus, which will reduce the likelihood of raids, you're going to want to donate equipment through this. Now, the last thing on there has nothing to do with donations, the tax and vendor income. That's just something that's related to supplies, so it seemed sensible to put it there. So now I want to show you the actual donation interface. So if you open Donate Supplies, essentially you can put anything you want inside of the safe. Now, it might take a little while for it to process everything, so we're going to go ahead and donate a handful of things. Let's see here. We'll give them some food. Oh, and I missed one of the, we'll talk about one more thing here. So we talked about pretty much everything there as far as what would be doing what when you donated it. So for example, ammo and weapons are going to boost your equipment or your armory defense rating. The junk is going to donate to, or going to affect your scrap collection. The food and water will affect your stored food and water. And then the last one that we didn't mention, because there's no percentage for it or anything, is aid items. So that would be things in particular like chemicals, Nuka-Cola, alcohol, things like that. All of those will provide temporary happiness bonuses to your settlement. So that's another great way that you can get past those little humps for your upgrades. So for example, the plots and city plans both require certain levels of happiness, which if you want those specific numbers, definitely check out our wiki. And those particular things require a happiness to hit. So if you're not quite at that happiness level and you don't want to have to build new happiness items or new recreational plots, you could instead donate a bunch of chems, alcohol, and Nuka-Cola to get you past those little points temporarily. So just like the stored food and water, it's just a temporary boost. It's a great way to make use of your equipment so that you don't have to build an excessive amount of stuff. Now, certain things on your miscellaneous tab will not be accepted, so we're going to go ahead and toss a few things in so you can see how that looks. So after you donate everything you want, you're going to exit the supply safe and they will begin sorting through it all. So they will give you back anything that they don't need. So you saw they gave back the bobby pin, they gave back all of the meat. So the settlers weren't sure to do with some of the items you donated and return them to you. It looks like they took the equipment toward defense and they returned some of the donated food as they don't have means of storing that much. So what that thing means is that you gave more than 3 per settler. So in this case, I have 0 settlers right now, so I can't donate any food or water because they don't want to store that much. They've declined the scrap because I don't have a city plan. So essentially you'll get feedback on exactly what you donated and explain why you got some of that stuff put back on your inventory. But generally anything that's not on the miscellaneous tab, you can donate to your settlers and they will have some sort of use for it. So it's a great way to kind of augment your settlements while you're planning them out. All right, and now we're going to talk about the maintenance cost additions. So for those of you not playing with maintenance costs, you know everything you need to know. So you're all done with the video. But for those of you playing with maintenance costs or interested in playing with maintenance costs, there are a lot more things that show up on the screen when you have them enabled. So in the middle there, you'll see that there's a new section, current deficit and current surplus. So the deficit is the amount of caps that your settlement needs to catch up on their maintenance costs. Now, the maintenance costs are listed as fuel and ammo because immersive wise, that's kind of the idea behind the maintenance costs. Now, I'm not going to go into the specifics of the maintenance system. I'll cover that in another video. I just want to show how the supply safe works. So the deficit is showing how many caps you're short on your maintenance costs. The surplus is how many additional caps you have remaining in essentially your bank, which can be used for maintenance costs. The fuel and ammo costs are how many caps per day you need to be generating in order to take care of that. And then down here at the bottom, you'll have deposit caps and withdraw caps. And these will bring up options in order, so I don't have enough caps so I can't see it, but it would have various options of numbers of caps that you can actually donate into your surplus. And if you find that you have an excess surplus, but your tax and vendor income are covering all of your fuel ammo costs, you can use withdraw caps to pull that surplus back into your own inventory. So you can essentially bank as many caps as you want, and whenever you're ready, you can come back and grab them with withdraw caps. So those are the additions for those of you using maintenance costs. Like I said, most of you probably don't need this, but for those of you using it, that is where you go ahead and put a buffer in, and also help out with the deficit so that you can clean that up if you let your maintenance costs get out of control for too long. All right, guys, hopefully that gave you a clearer picture of what the donations are for, and stay tuned for more videos. I'm going to continue to do this weekly and get you guys more and more in-depth information on sim settlements.